Hello and welcome to a new project. Today I am fixing a very important problem, the lack of dramatic sleeves on my Arwen-inspired loungewear that I made last week. Because we all know the elves of Lord of the Rings love a dramatic sleeve. Now, I didn't want to put sleeves on my loungewear itself because knowing me, I am not a graceful elf. I would dunk those sleeves in my morning coffee, and that's not ideal. So instead what I want to do is create a overgown type of thing, a bit of a cross between a dressing gown and a peignoir from the 30s, 40s and 50s. I do at some point in the future want to make a Hollywood style at 1950s peignoir set, but today's goal is something that will suit over the top of this set. So I'm going to use the remainder of my silk and stitch lace to do so. I am running low. A lot of this is just cut in weird shapes because I used it to cut out big circle skirt pieces. To get me started, I'm going to use this stunning pattern. This is Simplicity S8971. It's one of their in collaboration with Firefly Path ones, and it is just gorgeous. Today I am just using basically the undergown here bodice pattern. This has a wrap front. Theirs is actually a fake wrap with a zip up the back, but I'm going to take out the zip and make it a real wrap. And I do love the sleeves of this. Plenty dramatic enough for an elf, I think. However, I don't know that I'll be able to use this sleeve pattern because it's massive and most of my fabric is now in smaller pieces or weird triangular bits where I've cut a big circular skirt shape out. So let's get cutting, shall we? I've just cut out my bodice pieces and that's as much as I'm going to cut for the moment. I'm going to quickly sew these together so that I can properly measure how much skirtage I need around the waistline so that I can then cut out of my remaining lace fabric exactly what I need. And I'm going to do French seams. My lacy bodice is together, so now I can measure this bottom line and know exactly how long it is, which will tell me how long or how wide I need the top of my skirt pieces to end up. So I am going to patch together some of my leftover triangles. Let me see if I can show you what I mean by my triangles. Most of the fabric I have left is in this shape. So I've got a few of them. I was thinking if I connected a few triangles along this edge, I'd have a nice flared skirt. I just need to get the top edge wide enough to go around this waistline. So I've taken 3 smaller triangles and made one big triangle. This is going to be my skirt piece, but obviously my waist ain't gonna fit in that. What I'm going to do is find the point where it will go around my waist and I'll cut across there and that'll be the top of my skirt, which will go onto my bodice. doing so well with my French seams and making sure they all went the wrong way first before they went the right way, but it has caught up with me. I've sewn my bodice to my skirt the right way round if I wasn't doing French seams. So it's wrong, and now I need to unpick it and re-stitch it. Yay. It is the end of the day. I'm getting tired. That's my excuse anyway. This is going to be really fun to unpick. Lace. Alright, new day, fresh brain, let's try French seam these together again, but the correct way. That time round. Yay! So that can sit there while I try to higgledy-piggledy some sleeves from my fabric remainders. I've got one last big piece of fabric, so I've got to get 2 sleeves out of this, which I definitely can. There's enough there to make a little bit of something, but this is the size of the sleeve pattern piece that goes with the actual bodice that I've done, which is glorious. I love it, but I will not get it out of this. So because this is basically a big square, I think I'm going to cut it into 2 rectangles and use half for each sleeve. And once that's done, I'm pretty much out of fabric, but I do have 2 of these, basically this size, that maybe I could sew together and get a hood out of. I think it would be great if I could. Extra drama with a hood and sleeves, but we'll see if I can make it work. I do have some smaller scrappy bits as well, so maybe it's just going to be a patchwork hood. But let's do the sleeves first because they're what I consider the most important part. My sleeves are on and giving some drama. I'm really happy I managed to get them out of what little fabric I had left, and I still have a few scraps shaped like this. I've got 3 of them. So I'm going to try and get a hood out of them, and I'm just going to use this pattern, which is Simplicity S8866. It has a hood in it. I also used the sleeve pattern for this top half of the sleeve. So to save me trying to draft a hood or dig out my old pattern, I already had this sitting out. So we're going to use it. The hood is on and I love it. It is a little bit bald up here where there's no lace trim, but I only had so much fabric to work with. I might cut out some of my scraps and sort of hand sew them to the top here so it's not quite so obvious that my elf has a bald spot. I was just going to put plain white bias binding around the entire of the neck front edge, but then I was like, it's not quite the right color, like it's more of a white than this creamy white, and it's kind of boring. And then I found this trim in my stash and I was like, it's kind of gorgeous and the perfect color match. I'm hoping I have enough to go all the way from the bottom hem around the neck, because if you had the hood down you would see all this, and then technically she's done. But I am tempted to glue on some diamantes and extra sparkly things. But first, let's see if I've got enough of this trim to go around. Thankfully, just enough. I have this much left over. Now I just gotta hand stitch it down. My robe is finished. It has all its final touches. I'm really glad I took the time to fill in the bold patch down the back. I think having some lace hand sewn on there is a lot less noticeable than having nothing there and it being that empty tulle. So I'm glad I took the time to do that. And you know what? I think she's not bad for being a mishmash of two different patterns and some drafting of whatever I had left. And for being a patchwork creation, like I think my sleeves are in about 3 pieces, the hood's in 2 and it's supposed to not be. I think I have managed to create something quite beautiful from scraps, basically. Pretty scraps, perhaps, but still scraps nonetheless. I'm just waiting for the glue on the gemstones that I just stuck on to dry. I didn't put heaps on, I just wanted a few to sort of catch the light. So it's not bedazzled, just hints of sparkle. But once that's dry, I can try them on together and hopefully they will look good together. I don't know if they will, but I'll feel pretty.